Hi, good evening, everyone. So today we will start doing our analysis of Bitcoin. As you all can see on my screen, the current price of Bitcoin is trading approximately at 72,000 somewhere, right? So in today's video, we will try to look and we'll try to analyze each candle in detail, what happened, what is happening under the hood, from risk point of view, what has happened, how we can take a leverage from it, and things like that. So stay tuned, buckle up. This video will gonna be long because we will be doing our detailed analysis. So I would request everyone have pen and paper with you. Write all the key points which is necessary for us to keep in mind while trading new trade and while taking a new trade in futures. So just have your copy and pen with you. Take a note of all the key points, and I will see you there. Now, moving forward, I would want to start with one thing that if you are a beginner and if you want to learn the basics of trading, so you can follow us on our different channel like YouTube, Instagram, and X. We are across all the different channels which is convenient for you to use. So if you are a beginner, if you don't know the new technologies, new terminologies of trading, so you can follow us, you can learn with us. Now, if you are an experienced trader and if you are looking for exclusive benefit offers, so I have the best opportunity for you. So you can go and you can join from my referral link where you will get exclusive opportunities and bonuses on joining through my link. So either if you are a beginner or maybe if you're an experienced trader, both is very exciting opportunity for you. Both are very exciting opportunity for you. So you can do whatever you wanted to. Again, to start with, I would like to start with this is not financial advice. So whatever we will learn today, it is not any sort of financial advice which I am throwing on. It's the analysis and it's solely based on my inputs and my views on this. So just keep in mind, and then we will gotta go and start. Lovely. As you all can see, the current price of Bitcoin is trading at 71 to 72,000, somewhere in between these, right? For those who are following us regularly and constantly, they know we are not, one second. For those who follow us constantly, they know we now started doing our analysis on the past 1 minute. We are trying to understand what has happened in the past 1 minute. So we are making it so clear for everyone, even those who are beginners. So we are making it so easier for beginners so they can navigate this chart like a pro, right? And again, those who are an experienced trader, they will gonna learn a lot from today's live session. So I just wanted to say buckle up and let's get started without wasting our time. So from today we will start with 4:30 a.m. So as you can see on the screen at 4:30 a.m., right, you can see there is a green candle with a very kind of an average body, right, as you all can see on the screen, right. So this is kind of a moderate body. We have a very small wick, right. When you will notice, you will observe that there is highly, there is very negligible wick on the upper side, but the lower side there is a larger week, right? So what happened here? Buyers, they tried to push the price so higher from the open, right? And they managed to close above the open without heavy rejection, right? And the small weeks, they tell us that there was no aggressive selling pressure during this minute, right? So the context here, I would want to set that this candle is particularly a part of slow grind up, right? It's not like an impulse. So price is still below or maybe near the quailing blue MA, right? Which is my 200 TMA, meaning upside is structurally kept. And always remember, whenever your trade is upside your TMA, right? It basically represents that it's kind of the bullish market is kind of going, right? So I'm not saying this entire month is bullish because you can see every minute the trade, all the trade, every minute all the candle is changing the lines, right? Changing their path. So every minute the nature of the bullish and this kind of nature is changing every minute, right? If it is probably bullish or whatever, every minute it is changing it. So just need to keep this thing in mind, right? So from the risk point of view, what I can say is this is not like a breakout candle, right? All the longs here are fine only as a scalp, right? They are not like trend. You cannot consider them as trend, as a trend trade, right? So the risk exists here just because it is above MA, right? Which overhead acts like a gravity. So that's the only thing which you need to keep in mind from the risk point of view. Risk, everything looks good. It's a green, it's a moderate body with a very small week, so everything looks good and decent enough at this time moment, right? Now, when you will notice the next red candle, which was formed during the time period of 431. Remember, we are in the time zone of UTC, right? So we are considering everything from UTC time period. So when you will notice a new red candle which is formed at 431, you see that there is a red body, right? Right. So you can see that there is this red body with a visible lower and upper wake. Lower wake is larger than the higher wake, right? Right. So when you will notice the next candle at 432, right? You will see there is a green candle, right? So we have the visible weeks, right? So price here they dipped during this minute, the lower week, right, which you can see. but all the buyers, they absorbed it and they pushed price back up to the close green, right? So this shows that the demand is being absorbed, but again there is no range expansion, right? And from risk point of view, I can say it is healthy for all the bulls only if the next candle will expand, right? And if expansion does not come, you can say this becomes a distribution, right? So just keep these things in mind. Now, when you will notice a next candle at 4:33, you will see there is a very small body. It's a very narrow body, and you can see the wicks clearly. The upper, the lower wicks, they are clearly visible, right? So, what does this mean? So, when we will try to analyze the candle behavior, first look at these. So till the time here, the uptrend was forming, right? Then here there is this red candle. Then this is the kind of sideways I would want to say. Then from here we notice the downtrend is forming, right? Downtrend has been formed, right? And look at this two different candles at 4:34 and 4:35, right? You can see the body is the first body is comparatively okayish in average, but the next body is averaged, right? It's a very small body, right? So look at the next candle. Okay. So there is this red continuation, right? As we can all see on the screen, there is this red continuation. So what happened here? Sellers, they try to follow through, right? There is no strong lower wig, which basically means buyers they didn't aggressively defend, right? And when you will notice, so here two consecutive red candles, they there are two red consecutive candles after a grind up basically, which usually signals the range failure, right? So from the risk point of view, I can just say holding longs now is kind of a hope base, but again, it's not a structure base, right? If you are holding longs, right? Now, at 4:36, what you will notice a small bodied indecision kind of a candle, right? We have a very small body candle. So both sides are like the pause. Orders are being stacked, right? As you can see on the screen, and liquidity. I can say liquidity is building the way, right? So see these candle they forms kind of the compression after all the sellers they gained the control, which is very important for us to understand. So see, whenever you will notice the compression after the selling pressure, usually it resolves in just one direction of sellers unless all the buyers they reclaim it fast, right? This is the thing which you need to understand from this point of view. Now, when you will notice the next candle at 4:37 UTC time period, right? So what you will notice, it's a green, but it's the modest bounce candle, right? So what has happened till here? Buyers they step in for a relief bounce, but they notice the candle does not claim all the prior highs, right? So that's the situation. What I'm guessing by checking the graph. The context is the kind of it is our first lower high attempt, right? And this is again, this is not a reversal kind of stuff. It's just a reaction, right? So all the aggressive longs here, they are counter trend, right? Now, when you will notice the next candle at 4:38 UTC, so you will notice that the candle is kind of a green continuation, but they are capped, right? So what has happened here? According to you, what do you think? What has happened here? I can say surely that buyers they try to extend the bounds, but they stall so quickly, right? So price again, it is not clearly like failing below earlier highs and below the MA influence. That's the context I can set here. So probably if you are short here, so like if you have short, so probably this is a hold or maybe a add on zone, right? From structure wise. So if long, so it's just very risky, right? Right. So just to understand that if it is kind of, if you have short during this time period, you just need to hold probably, or maybe you have to add, you probably have to add on something, right? So you are in that phase, either hold or probably to add on something, right? From the structure point of view. And if you have the long, so probably you just need to, you know, you just need to wait because it's kind of very risky. Now, when you will notice the next candle at 4:39, right? So you will notice that there's a very small top hesitation, right? Very small hesitation I have noticed here. So buying pressure defeats like a completely, and neither of the side they commit anything, right? So this candle they confirm the lower higher structure, right? And market is sitting a trap for all the late longs, right? That's the thing which we need to keep in mind. Now at 4:40, what I can notice that it's the red rejection candle, right? So what happened here? Sellers they reject the bounce and they close the price down again, right? So this is the confirmation that the bounce. So sellers they reject the bounds and the close, and they basically close the price down again, right? So this is like the confirmation phase, I can say, where the bounce has been failed, right? And from risk point of view, I can say from here onward, the buyers probably shift bearish. That's the only assumption I can probably make, right? So now at 4:41, what you can see, there is this continuation. There is a kind of a side band, right? So, you know, selling pressure has been increased and body they expand slightly, right? This is the start of directional control by the sellers, right? So from risk point of view, I can say the trend is traders now align with short and long should be out. That's the thing I can say from my perspective here. right? So look at the candle, right? At as we can see on the screen, the market is a bit choppy, right? And during this time period, it is important for us to keep our balance, to keep our emotional balance along with the patience. It's very highly important for us to align both of these things together, because when you do trade, you should have a healthy balance between your emotional effect and your patience, right? So that's the thing which you need to keep in mind while trading, when especially when market is like choppy, this when market is showing these kind of behavior, right? So look at look at this candle. Okay, we can also saw that the volume is decreased as compared to the previous green candle, right? So when you will notice, you will find that this red candle basically shows a minor sell push inside an already active range, right? So this body is like again not so huge, so it is not like a dump energy. It is kind of more like sellers they are testing, while like sellers they are trying to test whether buyers will defend the current level or not. And the lower wick, which is quite visible, they suggest the price dipped, right, met they met bids, then they came back up after closing rate. That is important for us to understand because sellers they want the close, but buyers they didn't appear, right? So in like a technical term, I would say this is a kind of rotation, right? So and like from trade idea wise, I would say you don't short just because it is red. You have to wait for follow through or maybe a clean break of support, right? Right. So, okay. Now look at this. So when you will notice that at 4:41, what you will observe, it's a green type of a candle, right? So the response is kinder buying. So when like the immediately after the red candle, we get a green candle that recovers some of the lost ground, right? And that tells us that the selling at 440, they didn't create acceptance lower, right? So it created just like in reactive demand. So if this candle basically has a decent lower week, right? It shows buyers they absorb the dip and push the price back toward the mid range. So this is often the market saying we are not just ready to break down yet, right? And all the professional they read these like defense along with stabilization, right? And they watch the next candle to see if it turns into continuation leg or it's just another chop candle, right? So this is the thing which we need to keep in mind while analyzing this trade. Now look at the next trade at 442. You will notice there is a strong green candle. Whenever you see the strong green candle, it's the kind of an impulse or the initiative buying, right? So this is the candle where all the buyers they stop being defensive and they start being so aggressive, right? This body expands and price they pushes up toward the recent highs, right? And this is like an initiative buying bids they all are stepping up and they are trying to offer offers are being kind of lifted and the market is attempting to move into very higher value zone, right? So the weak structure matters here, right? So if the upper week is so small here, it basically means clean continuation, right? This candle usually forces late shots to cover and invite all the breakout traders, right? Which becomes so important for what happened next, right? So when you will notice another green candle at 443, right? So you will notice that this green candle, there is this green candle with a very long upper week, right? So what does this mean? This candle is again the classic trap setup, right? This candle is again the classic trade setup, right? So all the prices that pushes to a fresh kind of swing high, which you can see the long upper week, right? And they get rejected and closes lower than the top, right? So that week is basically the market saying that we ran the stop above highs and we filled all the cells of liquidity and we basically couldn't hold it. So even if it closes green, we can say that the upper wick is a warning sign that the upside acceptance is again so weak. So all from the proceed, this is like a liquidity sweep candle. It's not like an automatic short, right? But from a tighter risk, I would say prepare for kind of a reversal confirmation signal, right? So that's the thing which we need to keep in mind. Now, when you will notice at 444, right? You can see there is a big red candle, right? So what does this mean? So the kind of a reversal confirmation which I just mentioned about, right? So here is the confirmation candle after the wiki stop run candle, right? This one sells off with a real body and they closes it so meaningfully, right? They closes lower, right? Which basically showed that sellers they are now in control, right? They are not just reacting, right? And this is where many breakout longs become so trapped, right? Because they they bought the 443 push. If you can see at 443, so they all bought this push, right? And if this 444 candle basically closes back into the prior range and probably below the local support, right? Or maybe near your MA region, it confirms a failed breakout, right? So this basically means the market transition from markup attempt to distribution and rotation lower, right? So this is what this is telling us. Now, when you will notice a next red candle at 445, there is again a very huge red candle which we can see on the screen, which is a kind of breakdown or probably be the displacement candle, right? So look at the candle. This is very, very decisive kind of a bearish displacement candle, right? It it breaks through the key midline region, right? They break through the midline region, right? And they close it so deep, right? Which showed that all the sellers they achieved the acceptance below the support, right? And this size really matters because all the big body it shows that there's a very high urgency and there is just a little lower week available, which basically means sellers they had control into the close of the candle, right? So this is again the candle where the market shifts structure into a lower low territory, right? And where all the pros they stop thinking. Maybe it's a range and they start thinking like a trend leg, right? So from the risk point of view, I can say after a candle like these, we don't need to chase. We just have to wait for a pullback to short, right? Let's just quickly take a 3 minutes break and we will come back and we will continue doing our research. Thing I cannot see myself on screen. Lovely, let's get started. Now, look at the next candle at 4:46. We have a green candle, which basically means it's a pullback into the resistance, right? Kind of a retest. So this green candle is again not bullish. It's a pullback candle after a strong breakdown, right? So the real question arises here is, does it reclaim and hold above the blue MA, or does it just bounce into it and reject, right? So on your chart, as we can see, price they pops up, but they look scabbed near the MA zone. If you can see here, right? So that's the classic support, which basically shows that the resistance is now flipped, right? And all the pros often enter shorts in this basically candle, right? So we have a tight validation above the retest high. And because if the breakdown is so real, the pullback should fail and probably be rolled over, right? Now we have another candle at 4:47, which is a whopping red continuation, which basically tell us that selling resume and all the lower high is now forming, right? So after this pullback, right, we can get renewed red pressure. We get the renewed red pressure, right? Basically, this confirmed that the green candle was just a retest. It's not a reversal. It was not a reversal, right? And now, when the market they start printing all the lower highs and they're trying to push down again, the body shows that sellers they regain the control so quickly. And if weeks are very small, it basically means sellers they are not just being absorbed yet, they are still pushing it. And this is where all the trend traders hold shorts. And conservative traders they just wait for the next small base to avoid entering late into an extended move, right? So I would say the final part here is a series of smaller candles which is hovering around this, and this is again it is not a strength, it is typically the post displacement digestion, right? It when you will notice the candle from 448 to 450, right? So we have very small candles. We have like a base near candle, which we have a bearish pulse, right? So the final part here is uh, all the series of smaller candles, they were hovering around the price like in between 72.2 to somewhere between 72.3 or something like that, right? So this is not a strength. It is typically the post displacement digestion, right? Which basically means sellers they pause just to take profit, and all the buyers they attempt small bid, right? But the market does not snap back above this MA. It basically means all the downside buyers remain unless a strong bullish displacement candles appear, right? So look at this. All the pros read this as either bear flag or probably the temporary exhaustion. Until reclaim, it is just a bearish structure. So that is what the candle is telling us till the time 450, right? Now, if you will notice, after 450, right, all the candles till 5:29 for the next 1 hour. They were in bearish mode. And when you will see at 5:30, they tried to touch the MA region, and after this, a kind of bullish, right? So again, in every hour, every minute, it is changing their nature, it is changing their uh, behavior of being bullish or sometimes being bearish, right? Lovely. So now look at the next candle. So till 4:50, what we all can see. Let's try to first analyze this. So see the 450th candle, right? Which is basically the red candle, right? So this candle closes approximately at 72.27 something, right? Which basically confirm that the acceptance at lower price can be accepted, right? Although the body is again not so large. Probably I just need to fix my camera a bit, right? So the body again is not so large, and the inability just to reclaim all the higher level is basically the takeaway, right? So sellers, they are no longer so aggressive, right? But all the buyers, they still lack strength here at this moment, right? So from a risk perspective, I just can say that short should manage profit here, while all the longs should probably stay out until the structure flips back, or probably about the MA with conviction, right? So that's the thing which you need to keep in mind. So a high level structure should be, summary should look like from 440 to 443, what you all can see on the screen. See, we have the bullish attempt, then we also have the liquidity sweep. At 444, we have a failed breakout. At 445, what we can see, there is a bearish displacement and structure break, right? At 446, we can saw that the pullback is into resistance, and from 447 to 450, there is a bearish acceptance and consolidation. Well, so that's basically the overall summary till 450, right? So now let's start analyzing the candle from 450 onwards. So the next candle during the time period 451, you can see that there's a small indecision kind of a candle, right? So this candle has a relatively small body with a weak on both the sides, right? Which basically shows a temporary balance, right? Signaling that we have a temporary equilibrium between all the buyers and sellers, right? After the multiple red candles, this pause suggests that short-term sellers, they are taking kind of partial profit, while all the buyers, they attempt the light beats, right? So, however, the key detail is the price that fails to reclaim any broken structure or the MA. This is again not a strength, it's a kind of hesitation within a bearish context. So all the professional, they read this as a bearish digestion, not a reversal. They often precedes either a continuation move or probably a deeper pullback, depending upon who regains control or what. Right now, when you will notice the next candle again at 452, right? So we can saw that here all the sellers, they reassert the control. The candle, they expand slightly to the downside, closing below the prior indecision candle, right? So this confirmed that the pause at 451 was not like accumulation, right? The lower week is very modest here, meaning all the buyers, they attempted to step in, but they were quickly overwhelmed, overpowered, right? So this candle reinforced that acceptance at the lower prices, which is again so critical, and the market is no longer trying just to bounce meaningfully, right? So from the structure point of view, I can say this keeps the bearish bias intact, right? So professional would probably interpret this as a confirmation just to stay short, or probably in the trail stop, right? Not just as a play, just to attempt the counter side or counter trend long. Now, 453, you can say there's this green candle, right? So this green candle basically stands out because they pushes upward after the sustained selling, right? So from the professionals point of view, I can say they will probably treat this candle as a potential short re-entry, right? But again, it's not a proof of trend change, right? Now when you will notice the next candle at 454, we have a red candle again, which basically means there's again rejection of the bounce, right? So this candle again immediately rejects all the prior green bounce, right? Price open near just the previous close and the sell off, which basically confirmed that the price at 453 green candle, they failed to change the structure, right? From the risk standpoint, I can say this is where all the short positions regain the confidence and the long attempt should be abandoned, right? Now look at the next candle at 4:55. So this is again a red candle, which basically means selling accelerates here, right? And probably those, this is a kind of acceleration toward the intraday low, right? So this candle, they drive the price lower with a very stronger body and a minimal upper V, right? Which basically showed that seller dominates through the minute and buyers, they do not meaningfully push back. Volume also increases relative to all the earlier candles, which basically reinforce the conviction here. And this candle, they tried to push price so closer, approximately to 72.1 to somewhere between 72.5 something zone, right? Like 0.5. So basically, this area that later becomes so important, which you need to keep in mind. So from a structure point of view, I can say this extend the bearish leg and increases the downside momentum. So all the professional, they recognize this as a trend expansion candle, right? We're chasing is quite risky, but again, just staying with the existing position market sense. So we will take a pause here and we will soon connect on another live session where we will continue doing our live session where we will continue doing the live trading analysis. We will try to understand the exact scene behind every candle and things like that. So again, I'm repeating, for those who are new to trading, you can follow us on our various social platform where we used to um, educate users about the trading terminologies, and those who are experienced, if they are looking for exclusive benefits and offers, they can definitely join through my referral link, because we have lots of offer coming in and out. So for those who are looking for the extra benefit, exclusive offer, they can definitely join through my referral link. You can find my referral link attached to the description of this live stream. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this live trading analysis. See you in the next video. Bye.